But so you mentioned, but another part of your act would be your dad and growing up on the farm. So let's go back a little bit to that. So your parents end up in Kimball, and I think you've answered the question. So your dad had a family farm, and that's kind of where he, after his short NFL life was over, it was back to the farm in Kimball. So, man, what was that life like?
Yeah. To me, it was the best life growing up. I would rather have been born and raised kind of in the country, in the boonies, versus being in the city and then moving out to the country. So, I mean, it was amazing. Obviously, my hometown is so small, so everyone knew everyone. All of my friends were fantastic, and then I also had my cousins close, which are like some of my best friends. And we all grew up, working on our family farm. And that's where, I still today, like Duck Dynasty, I wish we would have had some sort of reality TV show that followed us around, especially in the summertime during wheat harvest, because that's when tensions get high. My dad and my uncle, they start to get on 100% full alert, and it just turns into this big comedy show where people are saying things, and then you mix my grandpa in there, who's just your classic old time farmer, and he knows nothing but the farm and nothing but hard work. And now you got me and my cousins who are all sarcastic, and we start playing jokes and pranks. And I mean, it was incredible being able to grow up and have that experience, along with being able to play basketball and see so many things as a kid. It was awesome.
What kind of jokes and are you playing jokes and pranks on Grandpa? Or just
so I mean, there'd be many times, we'd have these CB comms during wheat harvest, and we'd all get on, and we'd have it on a certain channel where all of us would talk. And my grandpa, when he got this technology, it was just mind blowing to him. So he would be on it 24/7. Hey boys, how's the wheat looking today? This and that. And then, at some point he was on it so much, my cousin gets on and goes, "Hey grandpa, it costs 5 cents every second that you're on the CB." And then we didn't hear from him the rest of wheat harvest, because he's like, he saves money, like anytime he can save money. So we don't hear from him the rest of wheat harvest. And we just, that was just like one very small thing. Or I'm trying to think, just things around the farm. We would kind of move, or we'd do this just to see if he'd notice, and he'd notice, and he'd come and say, "Hey boys, one of you guys move the tractor over there?" And Grandpa, I don't know, you're losing it or something. So it was a great time.
So there's weed harvest. What else? Did you guys have cows? Were you a ranch, or was it just?
So we had a little bit we had some cattle when I was younger. But we started to get so much land for wheat and corn. Wheat's the big one, and then we have a little bit of corn. But yeah, wheat was like the main thing in the summertime. Was 3 weeks of, we would wake up at 7 a.m. and we'd work till 10 p.m. and we'd do that for 3 weeks straight. And it was just grinding, but it was some of the most fun times of just being with my cousins, with my dad, with my uncle. And it is just tough hours, long hours, but you're working all day, but you just kind of enjoy it because you're working with your family. And it was definitely special, an experience for sure.
I bet. Cousins, dad, uncle, did you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a younger sister. One younger sister, and we didn't really let the girls work on the farm, so my sister was always in town. I have one younger sister. Craziest
farm misadventure. I mean, hopefully nobody. I mean, you hear about all kinds of awful farm accidents, and injuries, but I don't know. You tell me.
I got one. It's funny because I told this story to my wife, I think the very first time we FaceTime, but so I'm driving a tractor. And I have a grain cart connected to me, and it's a big rig, and I'm driving it, and we're cutting with a combine through these swaths of fields, and I'm trying to think what our header was. It was a 55-foot header, something like that. I mean, it's long enough for me to make a U-turn within the middle of the field. But I make a U-turn in the middle of the field, and I cut it too sharp, and my back tire clips the grain cart like a trailer that it's on. Cuts off a chunk of rubber, breaks this huge metal plate on the grain cart. And I didn't realize it, but I'm sitting here driving it. I start bouncing and I realize oh crap, I just did something wrong. So I get to the end of the field. My cousin gets on the CB and says, "Hey, I'm starting to smell some smoke. Make sure no one's on fire. I just found a huge chunk of rubber and a metal plate in the middle of the field." And I'm like just white sweating now, sitting in the cabin of the tractor. Next thing you know, I see my dad's truck come rolling over the hill like 100 miles an hour. And he whips in like a Formula One driver, pulls right up to the tractor. And these tractors are sitting, 10 feet above the ground. So
Yeah.
it's high. My dad, like the most athletic thing I've ever seen. I swear, the dude jumped up 6 feet in the air onto the tractor, grabs the door, opens it, grabs me by my shirt, pulls me out of the tractor, and just holds me. And I'm like dangling. And I'm just sitting here dangling. And I can't use the language that he was using, but he is like, "What did you do? What did you do?" As I'm like as I'm hanging, crying,
Mingling.
and I'm like, yeah, hangling. I'm crying, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." And he just like gets me down to the ground, drops me, just go sit in the pickup truck. And I sat in the truck for like the next 5 hours for the rest of that day while he just ran the grain cart because I screwed up so bad. So
Oh,
that was the one story that I just was like, all right, that was crazy for me. No one got hurt, but yeah, it was definitely hurt my ego that day. But it was just the fact that he jumped up, grabbed me, and just legit had me
yeah.
just dangling from the tractor, just holding on to me with one hand. Unbelievable.
How old were you? This?
Oh man, I was 14 years old, maybe.
Okay.
So young.
I was going to ask, I assume you guys had a basketball hoop, if not like a full court, half court. What'd you have?
We had out at the farm.
Yeah.
We just had like a half court,
Okay.
cement slab, no lines, one hoop in front of our barn.
All right. But no doubt you spent a lot of time there, I'm sure, a lot of your free time there.
Yep.
And that's obvious. And again, your mom's a former basketball star. I'm sure your dad was as well. I was going to ask you if basketball's always come easy for you, but in the scope of chances are you had a lot of one-on-one with your mom and your dad. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure they made sure it was hard for you.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because actually out at the farm, one-on-one against my cousins was pretty much like a football match. And those dudes were some of the hardest games that I played, which I think helped me. And then, yeah, when my mom and I used to play one-on-one all the time. And I mean, it was very, very competitive. Me and her, she was like the ultimate competitor. And the very first time I beat her, I think I was 14 or 15 years old. And she was legit mad that I beat her in one-on-one. And then my dad, we played one-on-one all the time. And he was kind of the more just like chilled, laid back, like, oh, here and there. Like he'd win a couple games, I'd win some games. But he was big and strong. So it was also like fun to play against him. But yeah, I played so much one-on-one, and that helped me out so much.
So how much easier did that make it when you're just playing against guys your own age and own size?
Oh, yeah. It helped me out a ton. I would say my cousins, especially because they were so physical.
Okay.
That any other time I played one-on-one against anybody else, it felt a lot easier.
I bet. Okay. And so obviously you're ripping it up. When was the growth spurt?
Man, so I think I shot up from like 6 foot to 6'5" from like my sophomore to junior year of high school.
Okay.
Then from junior to senior year, I got to like 6'8", and then I actually ended up growing a couple more inches in college.
But we'll go back to high school. I mean, at what age are you starting to play AAU ball for a team in Fort Collins, Colorado? Yeah. Which sounds like a long way away. It was. I mean, it was, but only. Yeah. I'm using italics. Only, or whatever they're called, quotes. 108 miles from Kimball, so about an hour and a half driving back. But how many days a week would you do that drive? And where all would that take you besides Fort Collins?
Yeah, so I started playing the AAU when I was freshman. My freshman year is when I did a tryout, just because it was the closest, like most well-known AAU in that area. There was like in Scottsbluff, there was the Nebraska Bison, I think is what it was called at the time. But my best friend, his mom found this team and found this tryout. And that's when I went. Kind of funny story. I went to this tryout, the whole tryout. I didn't miss a shot the entire tryout. And I remember the coach came up to me at the end and was like, because they go through a process and they have to evaluate the players. And then, they came up to me and they said, we want you on they had like a gold, silver, and bronze team. They're like, we want you on the gold team right now. We need you to commit. And I said, sounds good. So yeah, I committed my freshman season, and then we would drive. Practice was twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday, but then I would also go down on Wednesdays just to do one-on-one workouts with my AAU coach because I just wanted to and I loved it, and it kind of sparked another flame in me for the game of basketball during that time. So 3 times a week, it was, a 3-hour round trip there and back. And it was, I look back on it, and to me, it was easy. It was easy because it was time with my mom, time with my best friend, and we enjoyed every trip down. And I got to meet so many incredible guys that I'm still in touch with today. And then, especially at that time too, it took me all over Indianapolis, Las Vegas, Utah. We traveled all over for these tournaments. So I was able to get out and explore and see at the same time.
If you're not missing a shot at a tryout, then okay, how much practice shooting were you doing? I'm guessing with your mom out there on the farm. Like, give us an idea. It had to be a crazy volume. You're not just that naturally good at shooting.
Yeah. So we also had a house like in town, and that's kind of where I did all my stuff with my mom. But I mean, my mom would wake up and we would go to our high school gym at like 5:30, 6 a.m. I would say 4 times a week during a school week. We would go and we would work out. And she would just run me through shooting drills, and we would just shoot. And some mornings we would both be exhausted, and we would go in and just play shooting games against each other, and we would just laugh. And then some days were super intense. But yeah, I was grinding. She saw, my potential before I could see it in myself. And I'm so grateful for that because I needed that to kind of help push me along. We had those moments where she was like, do you want this? Like, do you really want to play basketball? Do you really want to be great? Like, you don't just get there and you want all the fame, but you have to actually put the work in behind it. So, I would say that at that time, when I was younger, it was just more fun going into the gym with my mom. And then it was like 14, 15 years old when I really was like, if I'm going to do this, like I want to commit now. But yeah, I was definitely putting in the time and work when I was younger.
Sounds like it. And yet, obviously you landed on South Dakota State. And by the way, we've got about 20 more minutes here, and a lot of Jacks fans want to hear SDSU stories, and we'll tell them. But, they also lived them. So, this is some stuff hopefully people are enjoying that they may have not known about you. But, Creighton and Nebraska, how much did they ever look at you? To what extent were they interested?
Nothing. I never got a single letter from
Creighton. And how tall were you? 6'9", 6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8", coming out of high school. Yeah.
Obviously that sounds insane to all of us right now because you're the 9th all-time leading scorer in NCAA history.
Of course.
But did that seem insane to you at the time? Were you kind of like, what the hell? Or were you? No, you weren't.
If you want me to be honest, I was kind of just this chubby farm kid. I could shoot the ball really well, but outside of that was kind of it. And yeah, to me, it was, I always had a dream. I loved University of Wyoming. I went to University of Wyoming basketball games, football games when I was growing up. And I would have loved to have gone there. And we had small communications. I always went to their elite camps and I always thought like, okay, I'm going to be able to go there. But that didn't work out. Didn't ever pan out at all either. And then kind of when the AAU thing started, I got some offers that slowly started to roll in, and South Dakota State being one of them. And I'll tell you this funny story. So I took my recruiting trip to South Dakota State, and I remember playing 5-on-5 with the guys in the wellness center, and I missed every shot I took, every single one. And it was just like one of those, all right, they're gonna not give me a scholarship. They just watched me come in here, brick everything, and I remember leaving coach's office, and I was like, and I told him because I committed on that trip, and I remember like, all right, well, they're taking their chance on me, and I'm gonna prove them right to do so. But yeah, it was just a funny story that I literally went in and I missed everything,
Well, okay.
absolutely everything.
Why were you so convinced you were going to commit on the trip? Should you be offered?
So South Dakota State was one of the only teams I remember seeing every single year in high school when I was during the NCAA tournament. And my dad always used to be like, "Hey, look at this team right here, like your grandpa." And my grandpa went to South Dakota State too, long time ago. So there's a small like family connection, and I have my whole dad's side of the family is actually originally from South Dakota, Murdo, very small town.
Yep.
But so there's like a small connection to South Dakota State from that. But yeah, that was kind of just I once I got there, I didn't necessarily know going on that trip, but once I got there, talked to the guys, talked to the coaches, I just knew that it was like the right place for me.
And why was that?
Coach Nagy was incredible. I really, really respected him and his outlook. And then, like I said, the guys, I just had a good feeling about the guys that were there. I enjoyed being around them. I enjoyed getting to know them, and I really enjoyed the campus. So those things just kind of all played into a factor of me committing to South Dakota State.
Yeah. By the way, I think most people know this, but Murdo, 3 hours west of Sioux Falls, on your way to the Black Hills. It's about that spot where you're like, my God, are we ever going to get to the Black Hills? We've been driving through 3 hours of nothing, and are we there yet? And Wall's coming up pretty soon. Obviously the rest is history, so they say. But you said you were just a chubby kid who could hit shots and not much else, and that's why maybe you weren't recruited to a higher level. How much did that redshirt season do for you? Because obviously your redshirt freshman season, your Summit League freshman of the year, you come right out of the womb and you're ripping it up. So I'm going to guess the quantum leap came in that redshirt year.
Absolutely. Eric Adolph, strength and conditioning. That is my guy, ride or die. I was the only freshman coming in that year who redshirted. So I was all alone, and that dude was up with me every morning early when we did our lifts, because red shirts, I did all my lifts separately from everyone else on top of the workouts that I was doing alone too, and then I would do all the team stuff, team workouts, things like that. But I remember Eric was like, he was the biggest motivating helping hand throughout that entire thing. I mean, he was lifting with me, and he was like, dude, we're gonna get it, so you're gonna be an absolute force to be reckoned with next year. So I have to give like a huge shout out and credit to him, because he really was like, there was many mornings waking up and I'm like, man, like what is going on? Like, I'm not playing any games. I'm just in a lull. I'm getting beat up every day by Cody Larson and Connor Devine and Logan Doyle. Like, I'm just getting absolutely, destroyed. And he was like, dude, just stick with it. Just stick with it. So that redshirt freshman year, I mean, I really did. I fully committed, got my body right, worked out super hard. And obviously, I mean, it paid off for me in the long run, because I was able to come in, my redshirt freshman year, and I was ready to go.
What did you like most? You said Scott Nagy was a big reason why you came there. What were his defining characteristics from your point of view as a head coach?
So he was very structure oriented. I loved also his faith too. That was a reason for me to like him as a coach. And I just liked his style of basketball. He had a certain way of doing things, and it worked, and it worked very well for me. Moving forward into my career, I only got to be with him for a couple seasons, but for me, he helped me grow as a basketball player to become, the next step, the next version in my career. He definitely helped get me there with, his play style and how he used me on the court.
He leaves for Wright State. They hire T.J. Otzelberger from the outside. What was that all like for you to process? And did you ever consider transferring just because the guy you came in with was leaving, and here's a new guy we don't know? To walk us through that, plus your first impressions of TJ.
Yeah, that was a crazy time. There was a lot going on. I remember, because we just come off Summit League championship, and we play Maryland, and I'm like, this is awesome, and then coach takes off, and of course, yeah, I thought, all right, maybe I transfer, and it was definitely a thought, honestly, up until I'm trying to think of we had interviews with two other coaches. I don't remember who they were. And then we had an interview with TJ. And the moment TJ came in, he brought an energy, knowledge about us, and just an aura to him that I'm like, I'm not transferring. I'm staying here. And I just remember we were all in that room. And, once TJ left, it was like me, TK, Reed, Ian, Lane, Severin, and we're like, this is our guy. Like, this is our dude. I remember texting Justin Sell being like, TJ's our guy. We gotta go with him. And yeah, I just remember TJ was like, the aura he had, the dude just had an energy to him that was, you just wanted to be around. And I think it worked out for us.
It did work out okay. It worked out for him.
Absolutely.
Turns out he could coach. That was a good proving ground for him.
Yeah.
He 3 years, 5 or 6 combined regular season and Summit League tournament titles, and UNLV and Iowa State. Now he's got one of the best programs in the country. But in that first year, you guys started 0-5, 1-6 in the Summit League. And you roared down the stretch, won 7 of the last 9 to get into the tourney. It's either the 4 or 5 seed and a 15 and 16 overall record. So explain the gambit there, why it was such a struggle early on. TJ's probably getting just beat up by, not literally, but by fans. And I was in the media. We talked to him every week. We tried to be fair, but we put him on the spot because he's the new guy.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
how did it struggle, and how did it turn around so fast?
Yeah, so it's so funny because if you ask me or Reed, for some reason, and we always talked about this, we were never worried that entire year. No matter what was going on, we were never worried that we weren't gonna win the Summit League. It was just we just had a feeling. And I remember me and Reed and Sky and Ian, we always talked about how we just knew it was gonna work out. I think we struggled so much because we didn't really know what the heck we were doing. We were switching between zone offense, 1-3-1 defense, one zone defense. It was all over the place at the start. And obviously we had a kind of a new group of guys that we were all trying to mesh together, and we were all trying to figure out playing styles. Like how can we all play together? Because outside of Coach Nagy's very strict structure, this is what you do, this is here, that we're all like, TJ kind of came in and gave us all the freedoms. He's like, I want you guys to play your game. And I think that a lot of that was just us trying to figure out, okay, how can I play my best game but also benefiting my teammates? And I think it just took, I think the big turning point was when we played UNO at UNO, and that was kind of like we needed to win that game, and that set us just in motion. And I think it just clicked. We clicked as a team, and it was very, very apparent once we started practice and everything. We understand each other now. We're ready to roll. And kind of from that point on, it just took off. But like I said, it was just one of those crazy years where, we just laugh about it now, the stuff that was going on, and how we were kind of just it's going to work out in the end. So,
well, you were right, and there was an amazing end in the Summit League tournament. But before we get to that, you hit second to last game of the regular season. You dropped 51 points. In Fort Wayne. That was a road game, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
97, 89. So they needed almost all 51. Too shy, not even a school record, because Nate Wolters had 53 against.
That one kills me because I missed some free throws, man. Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I still
Did
look
you know
back
the
on that.
school
I'm like,
record was 53? Did you?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I knew.
Okay.
And I missed some free throws during that game. And I just, yeah, that's the one thing. But, I want to give Nate, he can hold that spot for a while longer.
So you knew, like, going into, like, at some point you knew Walters 53 was the school record. So did you, are you keeping track? Are people telling you as you're getting closer, or you just knew it in your head?
I knew the school record, but during that game, I had no concept of where I was at all. I do remember one time I looked over at the bench during a free throw. I hit a free throw, and Andre Wallace was standing over on the bench just holding up a 5-0 with his hands like this. And I remember looking at him, and I was like, he's holding 5-0 like I got 50 right now. I couldn't believe it. So that was kind of that was the only time I knew. Other than that, it was like I was just focused on trying to win the game. So
yeah. But I mean, what's it like? It's you had so many games, obviously, that 30 plus, so it wasn't unusual for you to score a bunch, but to climb that high, such rarefied air. How fun is it? How surreal is it?
I mean, the biggest thing that made it the best is that we won the game.
Sure.
Because, I feel like if you score that much and you lose the game, it just doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just one of those games. And I've had a couple of these games where the ball, I just know whatever I shoot, it's going to go in. And it was just one of those games where you're just in a rhythm, you're in a groove. And then obviously, I mean, I had the most unselfish, best teammates in college with Mike Orris and all those boys. They helped me be able to do that. So
yeah. We're going to have to kind of speed drill through like your last 2 years, and that's
all right.
But we can't do it until we get to the famous Michael Orris shot against USD in the Summit League semifinal, and he walked us through it back in March. It's what he's best known for, and he's fine with that. Like you, he has a beautiful wife. He's had a great life. He's okay with this being what he's best known for in college hoops. But you take me and set the stage of that whole play, what was planned, and what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to give a little background. Michael Orris, he had some. Go ahead.
Well,
you got something?
No, go ahead. I'll let you.
I was just gonna say that dude, like, I was so happy, proud to be his teammate because it was like a redemption year for him. He is just like, he's one of the kindest, best, funniest guys I have ever been around. It's funny because I was just talking to him not that long ago. It was like a week ago. And we were just talking about overseas, how life is. And I mean, he's an amazing dude. So for him to be able to hit that shot, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. He's an incredible person. But okay, so what I'm thinking in the game, I think it's Tyler Peterson's at the line. He misses the free throw, and of course, selfishly, I'm thinking I'm going to take the last shot because I want to take the last shot. I mean, that's just as a competitor and as a guy who plays for the big moments. I want to be the one that my teammates can trust. But we all had so much trust in each other. So I just remember, I don't remember if I grabbed the rebound or what, outlet to Mike, and then I just sprint down the court, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting to my spot on the block. I'm posting up. And obviously, I believe that season, Mike, he wasn't shooting phenomenal by any means, but that game, man, he was on. And I remember the guy that was guarding him, I can't think of his name. He was just kept backing up, and Mike just kind of was getting into his groove, into his rhythm. And the moment that shot went up, one, I was like, he's making it. Two, if you go back and watch the replay, you see how hard me and Reed are going for the offensive rebound. There's not a doubt in my mind that if he missed that shot, one of us is tipping it in. But we were, when it's still like surreal to talk about, to think about, because when he hit that shot, I mean, I remember just running straight up to him, and I was like, "You're that guy! Like, let's go! Like,
Yeah.
unbelievable!" Yeah, it's just one of those moments that I feel like I'll never be able to truly relive it because it was just once in a lifetime moment.
Was that the best? Was that like was that amongst your favorite actual moments, games, wins at SDSU?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That I think that yeah, that was a win that was absolutely amazing. And I remember my first Summit League win with Coach Nagy when we came back, especially being down to Oral Roberts so bad in the first round was like one of my favorite tournament experiences.
Okay, I'll play one more hit, and you have a
All
rematch
right.
with USD in the Summit League tournament
Okay.
championship game your junior year, and you're now
Yep.
this is your now you're back-to-back Summit League Player of the Year.
Yep.
And the guy standing in your way to be Summit League Player of the Year and also to win that whole thing was Matt Mooney from USD. You're shaking your head. When I talked to Matt last year, he just said, I brought up your name, and he just said, I hated that guy. Did you? And probably just because you were wearing the jersey of the other team. I don't know
Absolutely.
if there's something else about you. You seem
competitive.
like a pretty likable guy, but
Yeah.
was it the
No,
same way for you?
it's just the competitive spirit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna say that I highly disliked him playing against him.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Everything else.
But
You
what
know,
was that
we
game like? I mean, I think that's still the biggest crowd to ever see a Summit League tournament game. And
Yes.
it was 97-89, I think. It was just battle royale.
It was. And I mean that dude, Matt Mooney, I mean, he's a hooper. He is a true hooper, and he has some big time confidence, and that dude made some big time shots. Yeah, I remember, we talked because me and Matt coming out of college, we both ended up having the same agency, and we talked. We were in Phoenix together during workouts, and I mean, we just talked about how we had the best battles throughout, our both of our college careers. Like it was the funnest games we both played against each other. They were so competitive. But yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, he was one of those guys. Yeah, you can't stop him. You try to contain him. And we were fortunate to be able to come out on top of a lot of those battles and in the Summit League. And it was, I mean, but that was some of the funnest games I ever played against was those rivalry games, especially in the Summit League tournament because the crowds were amazing in Sioux Falls.
I got just two more. If in the NIL era, you may have not, neither of you probably would have been in that game.
Oh my gosh.
Because if you were Summit League Freshman of the Year and you were already a two-time Summit League Player of the Year. And so you just, truth serum being truth serum. I mean, you got to have all kinds of feelings about the money you could have made in college. I mean, Oscar Clough, he was a Summit Player of the Year, made $1 million or so or more at Purdue this past year. Freshman of the Year, you could have made an easy $500K somewhere else.
It's so funny because my wife and I now, and I mean, I talked to Sky Reed, I talked to all those boys. It's so difficult for me to talk about it because yes, okay, I probably would have ended up transferring. I probably would have done the exact same thing because how can you? You're 20 years old and you're going to get offered $1 million. There's no way you're turning that down. So yeah, it's funny because to me, college basketball will never be the same with NIL now. But I still, as hard as it is to be like, yeah, obviously the money's nice. I'm happy it wasn't a part of my college experience because it was more competitive for me. And I think as a squad, there's no NIL, the money's not involved. And we just wanted to stay together as a team. We didn't want to transfer. There's no draw to go anywhere else. But yeah, it's a huge thing in today's day and age. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely probably would have transferred and followed the money if I was in college at the time. So
yeah. But you said what I thought you would say as well. Like you're glad it did. I don't think you're disappointed in having a prolific 4-year career at the same. You're like your last of the Mohicans. You're one of those last guys that did that.
No, it's true, and
you're a relic that everybody looks back on and say those are the good old days. They're never coming back.
I love that. I love that because I don't regret staying because I remember having opportunities, I think junior year too, to possibly transfer. And I don't ever regret staying at South Dakota State. I'm 100% diehard, bleed blue and gold, and that's my squad. And yeah, I'm so happy to have stayed at South Dakota State.
All right. I got two more quickies out the door. What were you told? Why did you not get a better look at the NBA?
So it was tough for me right out of college. I had a stress fracture in my foot, and that was my own fault because right as season got over, I had a little bit of discomfort in my foot and I should have rested, but in my mind, I said, I'm going to work out so hard and I'm going to be so ready because those NBA workouts during the pre-draft process, that was my real time to go against those high major dudes and show them that I'm capable of playing at the same level as those guys are. And I ended up giving myself a stress fracture in my foot and I missed every single pre-draft workout I had set up. So I didn't get to do the process. I didn't get to play in front of any NBA teams. I didn't get to do any of that. So then when the Trailblazers came in to pick me up for Summer League, I was just coming off recovery. I was in just that stage where I'm still kind of testing my foot again, my body again. And I wasn't able to, I feel like really show my capabilities or show what I was able to do because I was hesitant a little bit just with how my foot felt. So that was a difficult time. And then also I did actually have another really good opportunity 2-3 years ago with the Sacramento Kings Summer League. And that I was actually very, very close to signing a 2-way contract to go to Sacramento, but there was a lot of factors. Money was one. I already had a contract overseas, so it was hard to get out of that. And then two, they were already bringing in this high-level EuroLeague guy from this Greek club, Sasha Vezenkov, who's big time now in the EuroLeague. They just won the EuroLeague, so it was just kind of one of those moments where I could have done it at that time, but I was already so established overseas that it just made the most sense to go back overseas.
Okay. Well, and you go overseas, and that we've circled all the way back. All a consolation prize. You get to travel the globe, live in some of the most beautiful places you can imagine.
Absolutely.
Play basketball, get paid well, beautiful lady. And I'm just so happy life is good for you. Sometimes it's the first question I ask a first-time guest on this show.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the last. The show's called Happy Hour. It's called Happy Hour for a reason. If this is you and me at a bar, and we're doing this just sitting around shooting the breeze, you get choice of one drink. This is a man who's been around the world. You've had all kinds of incredible wines, beers, bourbons, I'm sure. What would be your one choice?
Old-fashioned.
Oh, Cordell, you know this well. This is you and me. That was me. That is my answer as well. If it's a beer, what beer is it?
Oh, that's tough. Man, okay. It's difficult because now the beer is actually the one thing that I've had all over the world.
Yes. Sorry.
This is difficult.
The Shoots in Portland is right up there for me. I don't know if it's number one.
Yeah.
The fresh.
Okay. Oh man, Blue Moon.
Okay. Feels like you kind of tapped out on that one. I think.
I feel like there's a Voodoo Ranger's also good.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, well, this was fun. I hope someday we get to see each other in person, have an old fashioned.
Yes.
It sounds like the baby didn't wake up, so we made it through that.
Yep.
And best of luck. Let's stay in touch. This was awesome.
Man,
and I
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll be in touch for sure.
Stay there so we make sure this everybody gets to hear this. For Mike Daum, the GOAT, and for video producer Cordell Wright, I'm John. Happy hour, and cheers.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.